The Oklahoma State Cowboys have the college football stage to themselves tonight in Stillwater, but is their best player ready for his close-up? From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, I'm Mike Sherman, and this is the Press Row. My guests, as always, are Oklahoman columnist Barry Trammell, Jenny Carlson, and John Rohde. John, Mike Gundy says Zach Robinson should be ready to play tonight against Colorado, just 5 days after taking that vicious blow to the head from a Texas Tech defender. That hit was something nobody who saw it will soon forget. Is this all set up to be Zach Robinson's Willis Reed moment?
Well, let's hope not, because Willis Reed, they don't need Willis Reed to beat Colorado. Colorado's not that good. They're probably in the middle of a coaching search behind the scenes. And my suggestion would be, and I'm going to write about this tomorrow, that Mike Gundy sit Robinson. Don't start him. Have him ready to go if necessary. Just start Alex Cate. Have him turn around and hand the ball off, Jenny, about 50, 55 times. Throw about a dozen safe passes to Keith Toston and 10-yard routes and just get out of there with a win.
You were also the guy who earlier this year said that Sam Bradford should sit. So maybe you're a sage in this regard. I don't know. But I think as far as Zach Robinson goes, it's interesting to think last year against Oregon in that bowl game, he took a big-time hit and got up and played. He did take a hit a couple years ago at Texas A&M that knocked him out of the game. So, maybe this is a guy that can take some hits and be okay. They've never classified this as a concussion situation. I haven't heard those words out of anyone's mouth in Stillwater. So, maybe Zach took no doubt it was a big hit, but maybe he took it, absorbed it, and he is fine. I hope so, because to risk a guy who might have a concussion, then put him out there against Colorado, as you said, John, a team that doesn't, need Zach Robinson to beat, I think that would be too bad.
I would be stunned if Zach didn't have a concussion. I don't know how you get hit that hard in the head and not have a concussion. So I would also be stunned if Zach plays. I know that Gundy said he expects him to, but I think Mike's pretty good at not actually telling us exactly what's going on. I would be stunned if Zach Robinson comes out and plays. 1 week is not, most of the time you need to sit out, but 5 days, even shorter time, I would be stunned, especially as you said, John. They can win this game without him. So that's what I think they ought to do. I think that's what they will do.
Okay, Oklahoma State has been very careful, as you said, not to call it a concussion. Mike Gundy said he passed the tests. I guess there's tests for every injury. Although when you start hearing tests, you start thinking about concussions. But this has really been a college football season of a bunch of letdowns. Isn't it some sort of letdown in a lot of ways? Is Zach Robinson, who's been so instrumental to Oklahoma State and its success, doesn't play on senior night?
Yeah, I think that will be disappointing, and I think that could be one of the things that maybe they're trying to weigh out is, Zach Robinson, who is a face of the program, the face of the program at this point, not being able to play senior night against Colorado, his home state team. He's from Colorado. So I'm sure they're weighing a lot of that out. But, they've really got to be mindful of not having something really severe happen here. I mean, he could take a hit and really be injured, to a point of not being able to play again at all. So I think that they have to be mindful if there is any issue with concussion or brain situation, they have to do the right thing. I cannot imagine they would risk him against Colorado especially.
Yeah, OSU's last two games obviously are huge, but a win tonight is so easily much more obtainable, Barry, than going to Norman without Zach, which leaves them virtually no hope.
Well, that's the game. We talk about it'd be disappointing not to play on senior night, not to play against Colorado for Zach and the fans. You talk about disappointing is if he can't play in Norman because the game's over before kickoff. So that's the game Zach Robinson's got to play in is Bedlam when the Cowboys should have so much at stake.
Guys, the Fiesta Bowl is right there for Oklahoma State. They win out. They're in the running. We talked about this Monday. It's on News OK right now. And then there's these dreams of a high-stake Bedlam game for the Cowboys. And then there's this Thursday night football stage, which isn't Monday night football, but all of college football is watching. What's the crowd going to be like in Stillwater, John? I mean, it's a Thursday night game. It's not Saturday night. Everybody's got to go to work on Friday morning.
Oddly enough, if Zach sits, they might be more juiced, Barry. And what we haven't talked about probably in a whole season full of these press rows enough is the OSU defense. I wasn't at the game last week, but certainly you guys saw something there, and maybe this game belongs to the defense and just let Zach watch from the side.
Well, I think the defense is critical, but I do think this is going to be a tough test, especially if Zach doesn't play, because I don't think the crowd will be all that juiced. I think it will be the smallest crowd of the season. I think Thursday night is a tough sell on a campus type game that OSU obviously plays, has a great atmosphere around the stadium, lots of tailgating. Oklahoma State's done a fabulous job with that. Doesn't really work on Thursday night though, because they have so many people coming from Texas, from Oklahoma City, from Tulsa. It's a tough deal to get back. I know we got back, what time, 2:15 or so. I got home 2:10 Sunday morning on a Saturday night game. That's tough. That's a tough deal on a guy that's got to go to work Friday morning. I think it'll be a smaller crowd without a marquee opponent, without Zach Robinson. I think it could be an environmental problem for Oklahoma State.
They clearly have some things going against them. I think if they were a campus located either in a metro area or closer to one, as opposed to an hour from Tulsa, an hour from Oklahoma City, I think you'd see a much bigger crowd, especially on senior night for a class that's been so important to OSU football. But I will say this, what OSU has going for it is a very, very committed fan base. Now, it may not be as big a fan base as OU or some other schools, but they do have a pretty consistent number of fans that will come regardless of who they're playing, when they're playing them. So I think there will be some drop-off. It's not going to be Texas crowd. It's not, and even the Grambling State Day when they did some things with ticket sales, it's not going to be that. But I think they'll have a decent crowd just because they've got that consistent number of fans that come regardless.
Well, maybe that's why we don't know if Zach's playing or not. It'll hurt the gate, literally. I mean, this is one of those games you can get season game passes, and I'm sure they're stressing it's senior night and so forth. Thursday night, like Barry said, and ESPN and all that. But maybe that's why they want some uncertainty. People will say, Zach's not playing, I'm not going.
Thanks, guys. That's all for this edition of the Press Row, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK, and every morning in the Oklahoman.
Let's see it.